Hey folks, welcome back to Naz Life, mixing you another lively podcast from the family of Nazarene Missionary Baptist Church. We're so glad you're joining us as we explore topics, ask questions, and get real about the Christ life we've been dying to hear about. Get comfortable in your seat because this is Naz Life with your host on his post, Larry A. Rasco Sr.
Welcome back to the Naz Life Podcast. This is episode 2, where we'll be talking about, now that you've gotten into college, how do you navigate your first year there? So I'm one of your hosts, Madiya Farmer. I am a junior at Fisk University.
And I'm Jared Chestnut, a recent college graduate.
The first topic that we're kind of going to be diving into is dealing with administration and financial aid.
A big one.
Yeah, a big one. And registration for classes. So when it came to financial aid, what was your experience with having to deal with financial aid?
Well, first off, you must know financial aid, you're dealing with all the smart people on campus. They're dealing with the money, so they're trying to make money for the university. So when it comes to financial aid, if you have to take some out, only take out what you need. No more, no less, just exactly what you need.
Right.
You don't want to build that debt where you're paying Uncle Sam and the university
yeah, right.
all this money when you only needed this much just for all your classes.
Right.
So make sure you know exactly what you need when going to financial aid.
Most definitely. So that's kind of like knowing your financial situation. You might think that everything is taken care of, and then you get there and you might have something, you might have to either establish a payment plan, or you might have to take out a student loan that you didn't necessarily know you're going to have to take out. So it's good to know where you are before you get there.
Yeah, to break it down, basically, you're going to have all these fees you're going to have to pay for. Obviously, the big one's going to be the loan or how much you're going to be taking out. Then you're going to have throughout each semester or quarter, however your university does it, the technology fee, the activity fee for intramural sports and things like that, going to basketball games because students go free at some universities, and parking, you're going to have to pay for parking, laundry if some schools.
Another thing that happens when you're dealing with administration is you get offered a FERPA form, which is kind of allowing whether or not you're going to allow your parents to see your grades.
Yeah, I remember that.
I say sign it and let them see it. Let them see your grades. And if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, there's nothing to worry about.
The only option is to let them see it.
Right.
Because
otherwise,
you're getting that look what you trying to hide
Exactly.
there.
They're going to ask you about it anyway, so you might as well give them access.
I mean, and they're, depending on your parents, they might be help paying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So they kind of want to know what they're paying for. So that's a big thing.
Yeah. They want to make sure that their investment is
secure.
Secure, right. Another thing that can happen when you're dealing with your financials is you can possibly have the option of work study, which is kind of working to pay off whatever money that you're owing to the school. And through that, you might find a job they are jobs on campus. So you're getting involved with possibly the library or the cafeteria or the bookstore, things like that.
It's a big one. I did work study. I kind of just worked in the our campus recreation center, fitness center, and things like that. It's a fun way to meet people, get interactions with student, faculty, and staff members. It's decent pay, maybe not the best pay, but I mean, it's some kind of income.
Right.
It's better than nothing.
Right.
So.
And then when we're going off of that, kind of registering for classes, when you're a freshman, if you don't know what your major is, I would say go ahead and just get the gen ed classes taken care of, your core. That's what they call them at my school, your core classes.
Yep.
So I would go ahead and get those out of the way. Most of them are for freshmen anyway, but yeah, make sure you try to get those out of the way as soon as possible, so when you get to that junior or senior year, when you're really into your major classes, you don't have to worry about possibly having to take a class you should have taken 2 years ago?
I mean, basically, when you first get there, like for your orientation, whether you're with your family or just there on your own for your own personal orientation before school starts, you're there like maybe a week or so earlier, and you're broken up into groups, and they try to classify you by major, and sometimes you kind of feel that pressure to be, oh, I want to go into, I kind of like nursing, so let me try nursing. Yeah. No, I don't like nursing. Let me try history. I like history. I've been good at history. History's kind of boring. Yeah. I don't know. Let's try math. Yeah, I'm good at math. But just take your time. There's no need to rush. Plenty of time for it. Just figure out what you want to do. Knock out those core classes. Then come back to what interests you the most, or what you want to do in the future. Because most of the time
you're not even declaring like while you're a freshman. So, So you get your classes picked out. That's one thing, but also your living situation is another thing. So to dive into dorm life,
another big one.
That is a big one. So when it came to like rooming situations, how did you navigate that?
For us, our university, we kind of had it just as randomization, to where you just apply to have a roommate and the computer generates something and you might end up, boom, bang, here's your roommate. You just know their name right away, but nothing else specific. So you kind of want to try and like do your background check on them, like do a deep dive, like not stalk them or anything, but just kind of fill them out a little bit online, just see what they're like, see if their interest is. Before you meet them, just get a kind of baseline of that person overall. What about you, Miss Fisk University?
So my freshman year, I actually requested someone specific, and I feel like I should have maybe gone random for my first year just to like not be familiar with the person. Definitely try to build, because for our university, they give you their name and their phone number, so you can go ahead and reach out to them if you want to. So I definitely would suggest trying to build some type of relationship with that roommate before you move in, just so like you're not stunned. And obviously, like once you start living together, that's a completely different thing. But you know, I definitely suggest trying to get to know them, kind of like fill them out, just so you're not like shocked by anything when you get there and you're like, oh no. Now I gotta find a different roommate. So that's definitely something I would think. And then once you like both get on campus and you move in together, discuss roommate etiquette.
Yes.
Like discuss
It's a big thing.
The study hours, how you're gonna listen to music, whether they can bring guests in or not. Like you need to establish that. At my school, we did roommate contracts. How did you kind of build that once you started rooming?
Basically, welcome week, you kind of just, everybody gets their room number, and whoever gets to their room first decides where they want to be at, and then other person walks in, like, hey, what's up? Oh, you're this person? Oh, cool. And then just start talking, chatting it up a bit, think about like where they're from, what they like, what they don't like. Their only child, because that's an interesting one. Just things along that nature, like guests, like you said, and just like when they like to go to sleep, things along that nature. Cold, hot. Refrigerator.
Whether or not you're gonna share one.
If you're gonna share it, talk about it.
Mark your stuff,
because there could be a time where there might have been a Subway sandwich, not a footlong, but half of one.
Right.
Where it's just in the refrigerator, and someone in particular goes to check the refrigerator.
Sounds so specific.
And, you know, it looked good, warmed it up, took a bite. I was like, pretty good, and just kept eating. And the roommate comes back looking for that sandwich, and now we have an argument ahead. So labeling could be an important thing, not from experience though,
right. Just another thing though in dorm life is kind of having to deal with community bathrooms possibly, and like making sure you take care of what you need to take care of. Everyone is not raised the same as you, so you need to, you know,
everyone's level of clean is different.
Yes. Another thing with living in a dorm is like transportation, and whether or not you're going to bring a car on campus, or whether or not you might have to take public transportation and such. So for me, I did not have a car, but I did have to like commute from one school to another school. So I had to learn basically about the public transportation in Nashville because I never lived there before. So that was something that I had to navigate as a sophomore, actually, rather than a freshman. But,
For us, freshmen could have a car. That was no big deal for our university. But do freshmen really need it? Not really, since we're not that. I wouldn't say we're that big, and campus is pretty close downtown. I mean, unless you really needed to go to the store or something, you could just always. But
you can usually find someone who's willing to take you.
Yeah.
And another thing was that, like, in Nashville, there's not much to do unless you're 21 and up. So it's like, good luck with that. So once you're like in the dorm, you've done your school year, and it's time to move out.
Ooh.
I would say they definitely take care of you more moving in than they do moving out.
Absolutely.
So you need to know who you're bringing with you. Or if someone is even coming, like you might have to get a storage unit for your stuff and then fly home. You just need to, when it comes to moving out, you need to make a game plan. I would say like a few weeks prior, maybe even like a month before.
I guess it really depends on like what school you're at and how far you are from home. Because if I'm from here and I go to school in maybe Colorado or California, then obviously I'm not going to be able to take everything with me. So I'm going to have to leave some things behind. And also, when I go to college, I'm not going to take my whole closet. I'm just going to take what's for that season. If it's fall season, well, I'm getting ready for that. If it's somewhere like in Colorado, it's going to get cold, so gotta take my winter coats. Gotta bring some coats, winter clothes. So you just don't take everything. You gotta leave some things behind at home and even. And
then sometimes you have to buy stuff while you're at school. Like me, I didn't take everything from my room to school. I bought stuff while I was like at school. So another thing to talk about is campus involvement and like how to get involved while you're on campus. So one way for me to get involved and like meet people was volunteering on campus. I volunteered in the library and I worked at the front desk. So I met a lot of people who would come in and out and they would know me. They'd be like, "Oh, you work in the library?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I think getting like involved that way definitely helps. And then like tutoring, if you need tutoring, like help, I would say definitely get it once you feel like you're starting to struggle. Like don't wait until you're taking those midterms and you're like, oh no, like
you'll know when, especially freshman year. Yeah, this is basically what the movies say about college. 'Cause it's college life, you know. So for me, it was just like attending events, whether it's sporting or just like what's going on campus, whether going on a trip somewhere. A lot of clubs that have like informative nights where they have tables out and try to get you to join different, say, fraternities, different clubs, and like international events and things like that, where you go on trips. Intramural sports was a big one for me, and just working in the fitness center also. They were like, "Oh, I've seen you before. Oh, you played this with me. Okay." So, and also another big one was, the nightlife, the going out and maybe having a party here or there. Not saying.
Wasn't really my thing.
I mean, it's going to happen in college. I mean, somebody's going to throw it. But
I would say at least go to one so you can see whether you like it or not. But you don't have to immerse yourself in party life if that's not for you.
But if it is, I mean, as long as you can balance it out, go for it.
Another thing would be like going to like cultural groups or like for my school, we have the Caribbean Student Association and the African Student Association. I know some schools have like multicultural groups and things like that, or they'll have a multicultural center or something, just so like other students who might feel like not exactly at home, they can find other people who are from where they are and kind of build that community around them. Another thing we had were like fairs, like organization fairs where like different either community or either groups from Nashville or just groups on campus would come out and kind of have pamphlets and posters and be like, this is what we're about. That's how like you can find a church family or maybe like Bible study groups. I know that was something that I was able, that was definitely something I was able to find whenever I went. So there are good resources and you can definitely find them just by getting involved on campus.
Yeah, I would say that's a big thing because obviously, well, for our university at UE where I was at, since we were so close to downtown and people were just trying to find a church, whether they're Christian, Baptist, Jewish, or things like that, they would just search around, and Nazarene's not even 5 minutes away from our campus, so that's perfect. And we had a chapel on
we also
campus
had a chapel.
also.
Yeah, we also have
So
a chapel on campus.
it just based on your preference, but that's how you get a lot of college students at Nazarene through UE and even USI, to be honest.
So to kind of wrap things up, to go over our first, knowing like your financial situation before you get to college, knowing what classes to register for.
Knock out the core classes.
Yeah, most definitely. And kind of just get to know the administration because you're going to have to be dealing with them for all 4 years. Second, dorm life. Make sure you establish your room etiquette and take care of what you need to take care of. And also try to build that relationship with the roommate maybe before you even meet them, just if you have that option, just so things aren't really weird or awkward when you get to campus. And then if you're gonna bring a car to campus, kind of know like what rules you need to know, and if you need to learn about public transportation, go ahead and learn about that. And thirdly, campus involvement. Just try to get as involved as you can to make friends, and just so you won't feel homesick if you're far away from home.
College is supposed to be fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a place for everyone there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a little trial and error in that field, activities and things like that. And college is just, learning more about yourself,
Most definitely.
your own path in life, what you want to do in the future, things like that, whether it's from nursing, neuroscience, to even just majoring in art history and art culture and things like that. So it's whatever fits you and how you want to live your life later down the line.
So thank you for watching episode 2 of Naz Life. Hope you enjoyed.